24-hour readathon. Was that supposed to be today? Oh no, did I miss it?
12 a.m. to 11:59.
So, I missed the start. I missed the official start date, but that will not keep me from reading. It is 2:22 p.m. Saturday, March 30th, and I'm starting my 24-hour readathon now. So the first book I'm going to be reading is The Almost Nearly Perfect People by Michael Booth. This is actually a book that my father has already read and recommended to me, and I was like, okay, of course, I will read it. Anything with travel, anything kind of delving in to the economics behind countries and why they are the way that they are and why people are the way that they are, like, I'm sold. So I'm excited. This will be my nonfiction book. And now something to mention is that this is the gratitude inspired 24-hour readathon. And so I think that book was a perfect pick because my dad recommended it to me. And I'm always so grateful for the fact that my dad and my mom and everyone, my brothers, they love to read. Now they all love to read different sorts of things, but that just means endless recommendations for me. But of course, that's not the only book I'm going to be reading because I'm an alternate. I am also going to be reading the book Riser by my good friend Becca C. Smith. Read now. She is also an authortuber and we have collabed together. We've met together in person. She sent me this amazing bag and also my dragon bag up top. This is harder to do when I can't see the camera. And I am endlessly grateful for the experience of not only getting to meet her, but like all of my wonderful AuthorTube friends in this community. So I'm gonna read her book and I'm excited because it is classified as teen horror science fiction and that is just right up my alley. And now I've also had the pleasure of talking to Becca about this book before, so that just makes me more excited. I am pumped. Oh my gosh. And this foreword is so cute. Dedicated to my husband Stefan for making every day an adventure and teaching me what true love really is. I love you. Stefan also makes appearances on her vlog sometimes and they're so cute. Okay, that's the second book, and then I have one final book that I am planning on reading for this 24-hour readathon challenge. So I was searching through titles, right? And look what I found. Look at this, okay? What kind of fan am I that I didn't know that they had come out with a Hocus Pocus sequel book? Is Hocus Pocus my favorite or is it not? Like, that's a bad fan. But I'm actually going to read Not If I Save You First by Allie Carter. I love Allie Carter. And this is a standalone novel that I'm so excited for, so I'm gonna go ahead and press borrow. Yay! Yay! And it is an audiobook, so I have a physical copybook, an audiobook, and then I have Becca's that is an ebook. So 3 for 3. And now I'm so grateful for Allie Carter because Allie Carter is one of those authors that first made me think that I too could be a writer and that I just loved the way she wrote. So I recently did a video where I was rereading my old fanfic and like there always are these stepping stones into writing. Meg Cabot and Allie Carter, those two, I was like, I could do this. This could be me. So I got a wave of nostalgia and it's a new book. I'm excited. I think I'm gonna start off with the audiobook though because I don't know if you can see this in the background, but I got a little bit of cleaning I could do and organizing of stuff I could do. So audiobook it is. Play.
Not If I Save You First by Allie Carter. Read by Brittany Presley.
I'm gonna put it down on the desk. Okay. Okay, so far I actually really like this narrator. I wasn't totally sold on it at first because she's trying to imitate like younger kids speaking in this first chapter. The rest of the book kind of jumps forward into the present day. This is more of like a flashback, if you will, but I'm in it now. I'm loving it. I'm sold. It's great. And I have 6 hours and 46 minutes left on this one. Yay.
More sight than your father, I can assure you.
Mom, do Maddie and I have to go? Couldn't we just watch TV in the residence or something?
The kitchen called. There's some sort of problem, though why they need me, I'll never know.
Hint number 2, you guys. Oh my gosh, okay. Oh, stuff's about to go down. I'm not excited. I'm about to get so sad for these characters that I've spent all of 17 minutes with.
And everything was wrong.
Everything was so wrong, and Maddie had...
Allie, why you gotta do this to me? It is too early in the book. Oh my god.
Chapter 3.
All right, I've mostly finished putting my clothes away, so I'm gonna take a break from that. And honestly, I'm gonna take a break from this book. This is an intense book to just start out with, and I think I get why, knowing a little bit about what the story's gonna be, but like also, as a refresher from that, I'm gonna go out and read this and chill, just chill like a normal person and try not to cry. Okay, good plan. Also, the big thing about this book, the behind the myth of the Scandinavian utopia, and basically delving deeper into how and why they're constantly ranking at the top of like the World Happiness Index. So I'm excited. Give me the answers. Or let me know that it's not all it's cracked up to be. Ooh, I got questions. Come on, Bubby. Yeah, but time for dinner.
Although I'm not gonna put that. Okay, then that's I didn't know whether to cut the
Nom nom nom.
Things are happening with the pace of play.
Okay, so something that I found so interesting about this book, besides just the content, because the content itself is interesting, but I realized somewhere along the way that I always read the introductions in a nonfiction book, but I have such a hard time getting myself to read prologues in fiction novels. I don't know why. Theoretically, in some ways, they serve the same purpose. I don't know. And that Allie Carter book, the first 2 chapters, at least at this point in the audiobook, really sound like prequel-esque, because I think the rest of the book takes place when the characters are young adult age, whereas when they're in chapter 1 and chapter 2, it's very young. So this is having me rethink some things, I guess is what I'm saying. But that's good. That's always good. And then I also dog-eared some page. I know some people are like so anti-dog-earing, but I wanted to show y'all something because I just thought some of these things were really funny, and that's what I really appreciate from a nonfiction book, is when there's humor in the way that they like reveal the information. Why can no one you know speak Swedish or get by in Norwegian? Name the Danish foreign minister, or Norway's most popular comedian, or a Finnish person. Any Finnish person. Any Finnish person. On the next page, look up the word reticent in the dictionary and you won't find a picture of an awkward Finn standing in a corner looking at his shoelaces, but you should. It's just little things like that that make a, 372 page nonfiction book entertaining to read. And so you're getting hit with all of this information. Some of these are statistics, like all this stuff, and you're trying to piece it together. And if they can make it entertaining along the way, it's great. So I stopped at the 4th chapter in this book and chapter 2 in Allie Carter. So right now I've only read 6 pages. That's not that much. I was distracted, but I also know tomorrow that I'm going to be distracted too, because I need to send out queries to 3 more agents and I need to write like 2,000 words. So we're gonna see how much reading I get done. Well, yeah, we'll just find out.
Go get some bite lipsticks and also some baking ingredients.
So it is now 9:26 p.m. I got distracted not only with Sophia Nygaard, but also because it was the Elite 8 for the NCAA men's bracket today. And my family always fills out those brackets for the record. I think I'm done. I think I lose all of it. There's 6 of us. I think I'm at the bottom. I am finally starting to get tired, so I'm going to finish off this video and then I'm going to read in bed. I'm gonna move that stuff off and then I'll read in bed. And I'm actually going to read Becca's book that I'll have on my phone.
Throw it over my shoulder compulsively.
Finish it. So close. I am realizing I need to do like my nighttime skincare routine and like taking out of my contacts and the brushing of my teeth, that I could like listen to the Ally Carter book while I did that. This is the kind of thing I never think of doing. I don't know why. I think it's like, I don't usually listen to things in chunks unless it's a podcast, and usually it fits the amount of time that I'm going to be listening to it. Sometimes I'll listen to audiobooks while I'm driving, but even then it's usually on like a 5-hour road trip across Texas kind of thing. Like it's never like I'll just listen for 30 minutes. So this might be the other thing I learned. Maybe I need to incorporate more audiobooks always. What are you doing? Okay.
Dear Logan.
Yay.
This is called a letter. Maddie tried to pull away. In D.C., Maddie's bathroom. Maddie didn't let herself think about the bears that read her mind. Pressed so close, he was almost anonymous here.
My next chapter isn't for another 10 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and click out of this and open up my Kindle app and read Becca's book. I'm so excited. And I can turn off the light. Yay! 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 Oh no, how am I gonna see? Okay, there's the bed. Okay, hold up. I love this sort of start to a book. So first off, it already tells you the year, which I appreciate. Chapter 0. So speaking of prologue sort of stuff. Okay, anyways. Okay, let me explain. My gift or curse, I'll let you decide for yourself. To put it simply is, I can raise the dead. I know, sounds cheesy, but fortunately or unfortunately, it is true, and I don't mean just people. Yes, I'm so excited. About to go to sleep, but I was just... So, okay, very intense scene, just kind of straight off the bat, but he was dead, truly dead, and it was my fault. And so then we go to the next one, which is chapter 1. Bruce's voice called through my door from the kitchen. I'm coming, I said with a sigh. Dead people could be so pushy sometimes. I can't. I think that's so good. But also, okay, it is 10:02, so I'm gonna go ahead and call it and go to bed. Good night. Good morning. Good morning, yes, sir. Can you see how long that chapter is? 58 minutes. 30% of the way. I need to talk about something in this book real quick, okay? First off, I'm only 4% of the way through it. So I'm really just kind of getting a taste at the premise, but it's just so cool. And I really like how many layers she's bringing into this idea that we're like 300 years in the future. Everyone takes a pill called Age Pro where they stop aging. You know, death has been eradicated except for, you know, accidents. Like there's no illness, you're not dying of old age, all this stuff. And even things like having the vice president of population control having been in power for the last 200 something years, and the main character's mom doesn't like him as they're looking at him over the holo. I'll read it to you. Even though she looked 30, she was about to have her 50th birthday soon, and Jeffrey Turner had been in office for over 200 years. That was a lot of time to do something that my mom could hold a grudge for. It's just things like that that you consider in a world that if it did have immortality, like would people be in office for so long? What would people do? It's just little things. And also I really like the limitations on her necromancery. And that like she has a certain radius that she has to remain in, otherwise the things she's brought back to life will die. It's just like a cool twist on other kind of necromancer stories I've read. And also there's already been questions presented. 1, why does the mom not like the vice president of population control? And 2, how's this whole thing of her bringing her stepfather back to life gonna work? Like, that dude's gonna die again, right? Like, it's gotta happen, right? Like, I got questions, and I guess the only way to find them out is to read more. Okay, let's go. Back to my coffee. my mom's watching a Hallmark movie in the other room, and sometimes I'm good about having sound on while I'm reading, like conversations or movie or TV shows going, but not today. So I'm back to reading in my room.
Really hit that and attacked that first time. You might have done better, something more with that. That's very nearly. But we didn't show
All right, I'm officially 37% of the way through the book. It says that there's only about 3 hours left of my read. I love that the Kindle does that. I've been having a blast going through and highlighting stuff. It's been so much fun, and I actually texted Becca and I was like, hey, when you put your book up on Amazon, can you tell where people have highlighted? And she's like, yeah, I want to make a whole video on that. So anyways, I'm hoping that she does because I think it's fascinating. I'm also like speeding through this book. It is great. I really appreciate how it's written and that there's a lot of serious stuff happening, but it also does feel very young adult in what I would imagine actual teens would do in this situation. Sometimes when I'm reading young adult fantasy novels or even young adult sci-fi, they feel much older than their age, and this one feels like they're exactly their age. Like, this is what an 18-year-old in high school would do in this kind of situation, which I really appreciate. And I'm loving, which part was it? Oh my gosh. The part I highlighted recently, I really love that she's been layering in the world building so much and answering questions that I've had, but one of them was like, what do you do if you're all taking this age pro pill? Like, what happens? How do you tell when someone is actually 18 and someone just took the pill at that age and they're actually 200 years old? And how would that affect society? And that's one of the things that she pulled off right there. And I was like, ooh, yes. So anyways, okay, I need to charge my phone. I'm at 25% and I have my Tottenham Hotspurs playing. So taking a break from reading. I'm gonna go get a mimosa too. Maybe I'll actually finish this book before the end of my 24 hours. So okay, fingers crossed. Here you go, biscuit. Oh, thank you. So all the games are done. It is 1:19, which means that I'm actually approaching the time that like the 24 hours are about to be up. So what I've decided to do is I'm actually just going to finish this chapter in Riser, and then I'll do the extra gratitude section of this 24-hour readathon. Recently, I've gotten rid of books, so all of my shelves are nice and not, you know, overstuffed like they once were. I donated 100 books to the library. But what I think I'm gonna do this time is I'm actually gonna go through my closet and go through the number of clothes that I don't need, clothes that I don't wear, clothes that are taking up space, clothes that I have grown out of or shrunk into. That doesn't make sense. Clothes that I no longer need, that are not helping me, that could be helping someone else. And at that point, I will go ahead and listen to Not If I Save You First again so that I can be hands-free while I'm doing it. But first, time to finish Riser. Well, finish. Time to finish the chapter. Now I'm on chapter 4. Let's see. Not that I need it, but I'll go ahead and bookmark it. Also, that last scene was so intense. This is one of those hard times where it's like I both feel like stopping for something like a little bit lighter potentially, but also like I want to keep going. Like, it amped my heart rate up. Okay, let's go ahead with my last hour and open up, where is it? My Libby app and play.
The noise level dropped a decibel or two when he pushed out of the living room and down a hall that led to the kitchen, where the game was already underway. A big pile of wood stacked not far away. There were shelves covered with books, which wasn't necessary. Maddie always carried her own. I've got chores to do.
2:21, basically done with the 24-hour readathon that I did a little bit more laxed. I didn't actually read for 24 hours straight like I have done with my 24-hour readathon because quite frankly, it's insanity. And of course, y'all know I love being a little bit insane, so I probably will try it at some point, but not this time. Now, to show you the remainder. So I have this entire bag of clothes finished. I actually still have stuff I'm working on, and I'm obviously going to need a bigger bag, but I am very happy with the outcome of this 24-hour readathon. I'm gonna keep working on things, and I'll let you know before I actually end this video what I think of all the books when I've completed them. But for right now, oh no. I'm planning on finishing them up very soon, also just because, I mean, I'm gonna be reading more as I do this. But I'm on chapter 7 of Not If I Save You First. I ended on chapter 4 of Riser. The thing about that though is those chapters are so long. Like, I was about to read chapter 4, but I was 40% of the way through the book. So there's not a lot of chapters, but the chapters are quite long. So it works, especially because each chapter has been a new day so far. So, and then where's my nonfiction book? I've lost it. And then for the least amount of progress overall, I got through a whopping 34 pages in The Almost Nearly Perfect People. I will say that I always read nonfiction slower for some reason. I think because it feels much easier to like pick up and put down than books when I'm like, I just want to know what happens. I say books, novels. Novels, I just want to know what happens. Just give me more of the story. And this one, it's like, oh, this chapter alone is amusing enough and I've learned something, so I'm like, aha, I've done the thing for the day that I wanted. So I will try to calculate how many pages overall I read and I will flash it right here in front of my face. But for now, I'm going to continue to listen to Not If I Save You First, and I'm gonna keep trying to finish this project. And the end of this video will also be going and donating these items, so woo! Yay! Alright guys, I finished 2 of the 3 books that I started reading during the readathon. Woo, that was a lot. The only book that I did not finish is The Almost Nearly Perfect People because, like I kind of mentioned earlier in the video, I tend to read nonfiction very slowly, and with Camp NaNoWriMo upon us and everything else, this has just been like, you know, a chapter a day is basically what it feels like. So before we get into a semi-wrap-up review of the 2 novels that I read, let's go ahead and take this stuff to Goodwill. Very excited, let's get on the road. Alright, and I got my little donation slip. That was so quick! Doo-doo-doo. We're back. So first up, let's talk about Not If I Save You First by Ally Carter. It was very much an Ally Carter book. Does that make sense? Like, I say this as a huge Ally Carter fan. All the books there. It definitely falls in line with being kind of quintessentially Ally. I will say that it being a standalone was a little bit interesting, but right for the story, it might actually be my least favorite of the Ally Carter books. I think the adventure was great. The dynamic between the 2 characters is great, but I think that's where the problem lies, is that it's just, there are 2 main characters and the bad guy. And that's like it throughout the book, which is fine, and they do carry the book well, and I liked getting to know them, but it was one of those also where I felt like because they're kind of switching who's telling the story, which point of view we're hearing it from. You know, either Maddie, the girl who's had to move to Alaska to be with her ex-Secret Service father, or Logan, who's the president's son. Like, it's fun, but there's so much overlap. I wish someone along the line would have like toned that down. Does that make sense? I really appreciate getting to see something from a different perspective, especially because they aren't really together necessarily the whole novel. Sometimes, you know, Maddie is tracking Logan as he's being kidnapped, you know, that kind of thing. But it was like every time they switched perspective, I felt like the next paragraph or so was like, it didn't just pick up, it was like rehashing stuff. And that's being generous, because sometimes it was like much more than that. And I think that might just be a personal pet peeve. I did find it frustrating. That being said, Ally did have one of my favorite things. I don't even know what you'd call it. It's not a trope, but it was like Alaska, the setting, was like a character in itself, which I really appreciated. Now, there was a little bit of repetition with like, Alaska is dangerous. Did you know Alaska is dangerous? Because it's dangerous. But overall, I really appreciated having the strength of Alaska being almost like a character. I thought that was cool. Not my favorite Ally Carter book, still pretty great though, because it's Ally Carter. And the other book that I have now read in its entirety was Riser by Becca C. Smith. And now I also really liked this book. I would argue I might have liked it more than Not If I Save You First, but I think that's just because, I mean, it was dystopian-esque, it was zombie-esque, it was necromancery. Like, it had a lot of the elements that I really like in books just generally. And I think throughout this vlog you can tell that for me one of the big things was not just world building, but the way the world building was done. It answers so many questions, and just this concept of age pro is so cool. And thinking up what would happen if everyone did take age pro at like 18, how that would change our world. Although my two biggest criticisms, if you can call them that really, one of them, we were reading about the security of the houses and kind of what you have to do for things, and like, since we're this advanced society, and she was at like these richer people's houses and like all this stuff. So right off of the backs of talking about the security of the place, we then have people like break into it. It just felt kind of at odds. And not just once, but like twice. I kind of wonder if I missed something too. So that's one of the hard ones where I was like, what? And then the other thing that got me as I was reading is that so much stuff happens, which I'm a huge fan of. I like when it's fast paced and keeps you captivated the entire time, which Riser definitely did. But something, you know, Chelson, the main character, has been through so much over the course of the novel, and you're just reading it, you're like, how is this girl not breaking down? And now part of it is because people are trying to kill her, so it's like, you gotta keep moving. But then every time I was like, how is she handling this the way she is? You know, 10 pages later, it would be like, oh no, she's not handling it. So it was addressed. It's just one of those points where you get to it and you're like, wait a second, and then it's answered. You know, that happened, I would say 2 or 3 times. And now I read a lot of young adult fiction, and one of my favorite things about the way that Riser was handled is that it is the most realistic love triangle, if you can even call it that, because really it's just like unrequited love and affection on one side, whereas Chelson cares very much for the other person, and like this one's actually like a love bond, you know? This one is just like a friend who cares for her more than she cares for him. Like, it's not a love triangle, but if you're gonna do a love triangle, that's what I always think it should be. And this is a realistic scenario, this weird like line? Angle, V, I don't know. And also, all of the minor characters I really enjoyed. I liked the personalities of her friends, and I really appreciated that the friends stayed the friends the whole time. The drama was around what was happening and the plot and the guy who's evil and Chelson's family and all this stuff. Like, it was very good, and I felt like the friendships were very strong and didn't get manipulated in a way that I sometimes worry about with young adult. So, or any book, to be totally honest. I don't think this is like a young adult specific thing. Sometimes it's like, you know what we should do? Let's throw more drama in, but it's like unwarranted drama. It's like, why are you doing that kind of drama? That was not in here. So basically, I guess what I'm saying is I really enjoyed both of these books. I had a lot of fun reading them, and I'm going to continue having fun reading this one chapter at a time. Slowly, very slowly. Maybe it'll be a reward when I finish Camp Nanarado. I'll just read the whole thing through. But I think that's it for me in this video. Please comment down below. Let me know if you've ever participated in a readathon before. Let me know if you've done better than I did at the readathon. And like, you know, started on time. And also please let me know if you've read any great books recently. I would love to know about it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you very soon with a new video. Bye! Also, this feels very like kismet, but look, I already got Read by Zoe has a live stream right now, and I just finished my own 24-hour readathon with her. Make sure it's obvious I have hair. Are you having funny? Funny? What?